Have you had the puberty talk? How did it feel?
You know, the puberty talk, people prepare for it. It must be gender to gender. Is that how it happened in your home? It didn't happen like that in mine. And these are the conversations we're having.
It must not be gender to gender. No.
Really?
It must not be gender to gender. Everybody has an experience of puberty and have something to say about every adult, so to say. And when you're passing it across to your children, you pass it out the way they will understand. That's most important.
You know, so we're looking at those conversations that you must have with the children that are uncomfortable. Should we have them? Should we delegate? Should we outsource it?
And when should we have them?
Very important. So we welcome you to
today's edition of Relationship Clinic.
Yes, so
I'm Rich and my wife
Angie. Before we begin, we want to tomorrow is a big day for Keeping Marriage Alive initiative. Remember that Relationship Clinic is powered by Keeping Marriage Alive initiative, and we are blessed to be the founders.
Yes.
And tomorrow we are going to give you a gift. It's a free gift. Please join us in First Stack Moroville Academy as we discuss Don't Outsource Parenting. And it's going to be an in-depth of what we're speaking. This is just the paraphernalia, what do you call that? So tomorrow, don't miss it. If you have not registered, click on the link below and register. So back to today's conversation. How are you doing? I think for everyone who has been giving us good feedback on Relationship Clinic, we say thank you. We are quite encouraged. We need more feedbacks, more comments. Let's make marriage work. Let's build a legacy far beyond ourselves. So over to you. Today's topic is all about the children our future. I mean, what do you have to say?
Yes, children are really our seeds we can put into the future and with guaranteed harvest. They follow up what we teach them, they bring it out, and they represent it.
Yes, so, you know, when you think about your success, because success is dependent on what you see. When you think about your success, are your children part of your success story? Look around you. We have very great men and women who they've written their stories in the Bible, in and out, even in your sphere, in your environment. They were great, but where are their children?
Yes.
What do they turn out to be? So if we do not take intentional actions to understand that our children are our future and they are part of our success story, we usually fail.
Yes.
Do you know that
and you are not a success, you have a successor.
Yes, but sometimes your successor must not be your child in your business. But all your children should be successful in their areas of calling. It's very important.
And whatever grace has been placed on you and your wife or the family should spread down the family. It's an intentional thing. You don't just assume it will happen. It doesn't happen.
Do you know what? There's something that came to my mind as we were conversing. I was thinking about Samuel. Just imagine. Do you know that Samuel watched Eli's children die because they were not well trained? But do you know that Samuel made this mistake? So, he was known for a man who was not corrupt, who loved God.
How come his children turned out that way?
This thing no be easy thing, no. Train a child in the way they should go. I want to share this thing to the glory of God and for us to learn. Permit me to share. You know, that was some time ago last year. One of our security men in our former place came to meet I and my husband, and he had literally laid down to greet us. Even me, that's an abomination for me. What is that? It's only God that deserves our honor like that.
It was a humbling
experience. And he kept saying, your children are different. Your children are different. And we have conversations in the close. Why are your children different? They are different in their manners. They are different in the way they go out and come in. And when we're asking those questions, dawned on me that when you do right, it shows. And when you do right, not only does it show, people learn from it and begin to do right for their own children. So what we're sharing with you is not something we've not practiced. It's something we're still practicing. There are lifelines. And that's why we ask you that though this conversation will be short today, make sure you're there tomorrow for the main event.
Yes. And training a child or bringing up a child is a lifelong career, so to say. You never stop adding, imputing, discussing with them, correcting and instructing. You never stop doing that. And
that's the truth. And we're going to share some scriptures with you, because in our age and time, we tend to see that one particular gender tends to train the child up more than the other gender. Should it be so?
No, it ought not to be so. But we should all make time to intentionally put our own input, so it comes out. They come out holistic, a full, complete personality.
And it's not the quantity of time; it's the quality of time. And most of us, especially for we women, who because of lifestyle and all, tend to spend more time with our children. And when I say especially for women, I'm saying an average. Excuse me. What happens is that we tend to judge our training of our children with the time we've spent with them. No, it's the quality, what you put into that time, that is called training.
And the impact.
Yes, that's
yes,
thing you put
must
into
get the
it.
feedback. Did they get what the message you try to pass across? Are they practicing it? You guide them to practice it. They make their mistakes. They learn from it, improve on it. It's quite a task. Yes, don't take it casually. We take it casually most of the time in this part of the world, but it's not so.
It's not so.
We ought to be more diligent about it.
As we go into the steps we are taking in our house, we are trying to put it into an acronym to help you. In our home, it's not like an acronym, but in this conversation, we have to bring it to simple steps to help you understand where we are driving at. And just to look at it, do you know that most people, when they were pregnant in the Bible, spoke to the Lord about the child they were bearing? The Lord told them the kind of child and the things the child would do, the things they should not do. So there is a combination of us and God in rearing and training a child.
Definitely.
And if you remove that part of that, you actually do not train a child. Because the fullness or the holistic part of the child
you miss it out. It's just like driving a Toyota and taking a Peugeot manual to work on the Toyota. You're doing it wrong. You missed it from the foundation. It's foundational. That's the truth.
Yes, it's foundational.
You don't connect with God to train that child. It's foundational mistake you made.
Very important.
Because I trained the child according to what you feel, what you think, what you want, which is wrong.
Oh God, I like that.
Okay, so we're going to scriptures.
Before we take the scriptures, let's align the scriptures according to the acronyms to help us. Okay. So the T. So we decided to give you an acronym as simple as train. When we say train up a child, and we will discuss this further in tomorrow's conversation. When we say train up a child, remember it's train. Say to yourself, train. Let's say train. So I will be discussing the T. And the T, let's look at Proverbs 1 and 8, if I'm correct. So Proverbs 1:8. And I'll read Proverbs 1, verse 8 and 9, and I'm using the Amplified Classic. My son, hear the instruction of your father. Reject not, nor forsake the teaching of your mother, for they are a victor's chaplet or garland of grace upon your head and chains, and pendants of gold worn by kings for your neck. And I want us to look at this. Now, this teaching, I have parents that contradict themselves in their conversations. And that's the first thing you should never do in your relationship. Never contradict one another. So the first thing is, have you had a conversation about this child you are bringing onto the earth? Have you had a conversation with the one who gave you these gifts? If you have had a conversation with him, that's God the Creator, have you written it down? Then take this conversation and discuss together.
Amongst yourself and agree on something. Mode of operation.
Exactly.
Apply it.
So we like, let me give you an example. Some years back, we took time out and we fasted for days for our children. The Lord gave us foundational scriptures and His expectations of each of our children. And for those past, I think it's 4 years or 5 years now, we fast every Friday as a family, speaking life to those foundational scriptures concerning them, their marriage, their bents, their call on earth. And the children are aware of it. We spoke about it for 1 year before we revealed that to the children to be sure we were right in what the Lord has revealed.
And to steer them the right way.
Exactly.
So right from youth, they are already stirred up in the right way.
Beautiful. And remember that Moses, when the mother, Jochebed and Amram, his parents, knew that Moses was a special. What did they do? They gathered him. But why did they keep him for 3 months? They were speaking. You see, spoken words help children become and enter into places with better ease than other children. Yes. Now, that's the first part of it, speaking. So when we say teach, as in the T on train, we're saying get God's directives, agree on those directives and the roles you will play together, and then apply it on those children and let the children walk with you as they grow. There's no greater gift. And just to add that before my husband discusses the relates, the R, I just want to remind you that they said something very key here in verse 9. They said, it says, this teachings, this instruction from the father and the mother is a gold won by kings. So the things, how you train your child depends if they will live in kingly positions on earth, both men and women. Don't leave it to chance. I remember the story we shared about us. Don't leave it to chance. They are priority. Make them priority this year.
And if you do it that way, you're actually ingraining those qualities in them from their youth. Yes. So they grow up, they won't miss their way. They're already focused, they already know what it is. No, the outside world will not cause them to deviate or circumstances. So it's very important.
Very, very.
It's very important. The R is relate to the children. Yes. Children are different. I have to relate to them at their own level, and they are different too. So it's crucial. And that's where this scripture comes to be, Proverbs 22:6. Can you read it? Proverbs 22:6.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and in keeping with his individual gift or bent. And when he's old, he will not depart from it. And meaning, just like I said, in their individual gifts or bent.
And the word says train, it didn't say teach. Training encompasses teaching and watching them apply it, guide. It's like a coach. You tell him, okay, play this thing this way, and you watch him play it that way. If he misses it, say, no, you didn't play it well, till he gets it. And still watch over him as he's doing it and getting it, till he perfects it.
That's very true. So
you're training now for, when he's old, he will not deviate. So it's a goal-oriented training.
So when you say relate, my husband, and I'm saying to the fathers and mothers, we command our children, we don't relate with them. And we need to know that is very key. You see, some people say, you see, don't do this. But when you relate to the child's unique strengths and weaknesses, they understand better. Let's give a simple example. In our home, we have 3 children. The first is a girl, the youngest is a boy, the middle is a boy too. The first and the youngest have this thing. When you correct them, they take it and they move on. Our middle child needs to understand why you corrected him. Now, for you to say, can't you be like your siblings? What you understand? Wrong. That's not him. And so I want to ask every parent listening, we ask people, you remember when we read that book, why you act the way you do, for temperaments of our children? Remember when we read it? I remember last year we read it with the children. We're trying to know their own temperaments and why we all relate differently. Didn't it help?
It helped. They saw why they behaved the way they behaved, and it enlightened everybody on why they are different and how different they are. So you relate to the child according to his own understanding. You ask his opinion actually. Why does he think you shouldn't even do that? Why do you think you shouldn't do it?
And the child is not too small.
Yes, and you tell him, no, that's not it. If you do this, this is what. When he understands, he himself will be very willing
to do what is
participate.
Right.
You get them actively involved.
And when we talk about relate, you can't relate to children without God's wisdom.
Yes.
So because a child of 3 years, go to the room, I'm giving an instruction now, go to the room, get me a cup, will not understand what you're saying. Sweetheart, if you climb the staircase and you open mommy and daddy's room, there is a yellow cup looking there in front of you, bring it down for mommy and daddy. That's clear instruction. The elder one, get upstairs, get me that cup quickly. The child understands immediately because they've passed that stage and they get it for you immediately. So how are you relating with your child? With your own level of understanding or their own level of understanding?
And try not to command. We do that, it gets the work done at times, but that's not the right way to do it.
They don't learn when you command. Yes. Because when they are no longer with you,
that's the end of it. That's the end of it. They won't even want to see anything about commanding.
But when you relate with them, when you are not there, those things are imbibed.
Yes.
It's very, very important. So we move on to the third one. And the third one is adapt and adjust. And you see, that's the beauty about relationship. When we talk about training a child, we actually think that it's the child that needs to be trained. We parents need to be trained.
Yes, we've not gone this route before. Having your child, you're training, so it's a learning experience both for you and for them.
Yes. You can remember that debate we had? There was a part, we have debates in our house, and now we read books almost every day with our children. We're having these conversations. I remember our daughter was meant to debate on parenting, and she gave a lot of vibes about parenting that she didn't like. And then we said something that caught her off guard. We said, we've never been parents before. And she said, that's true. I said, just like you're struggling to know who you are, we're also adjusting and adapting to know who we are and our roles.
And play our role properly.
So I want to ask you, how intentional are you about adjusting to your child's growth process. You know, some of us don't even know our children have outgrown who we are at that season. So every time in my life, especially together, but especially in my life as a personal person, I look at my children and I say, God, grant me the grace to always have grown at the stage the children need me to be. So there are times they need love. There are books I have read. My children are asking questions that Ngozi's myopic nature might not be able to deliver. Yeah. So I'm reading up to be able to relate with them without understanding. Are you adapting and improving yourself for the kind of children you desire to train?
Yes, yes.
You know, these are global children, or as they call them, Generation Z. But are you ready? So you know,
it's just like your child can play the piano. Have you ever sat down and watched the child play the piano to see how skilled or how unskilled
exactly
the child is?
Or even understand that though you can't play it, you should be able to have a conversation concerning the piano.
Yeah.
The F clef, you know, those kind of things. You have those conversations
to encourage and to support, to stimulate the child to go ahead.
So now when the child asks some questions, you are caught off guard.
You know?
So when we say adapt and adjust, we're not saying alone for the child, we're saying for you. And that's why tomorrow's conversation, you can't miss it.
Don't miss it. You can't outsource parenting.
At all. And you can't say it's the mom.
Yes.
That was a cake.
For one person.
At all. Is there a cake or a cake? Please, whatever it is, bear with me. And you know, so we need to begin to ask ourselves, are you adjusting and adapting? My husband and I are going through this process together. There are times we do it differently, but we have one goal, that this is what we want our children to be. They are world changers, God's light on the earth. And we don't treat them like the whole world. Remember, we moved recently to a new place, and our son loves this place because of the games he can play and all. So one day he came back and he said to us, he said, I'm not like other children. You have rules for when I come back. I said, have you forgotten our goals, our vision? We're not trained to be every other child. You're special, you're unique, and you're a global influencer. And so those things we want to imbibe in them determines how we train them, the rules they obey, and the boundaries we create. And what do you have to add as we go into the next one?
That's very proper. That's how to go about it.
And then I think we said teach, we've said relate, we've said adapt and adjust, and we're saying intercede and intercept. Repeat after us, intercede and intercept. When last did you stay in the place of prayer just for your child?
To bat something in your child, to bat something concerning.
Very important. Even right now, we're interceding for our daughter especially. Yes. So there are times you have a nudging, yes, I begin to intercede for them, so that those things that are coming that cannot be seen by the physical eyes are stopped somewhere. When you intercede for your children and God knows that your heart is where they are meant to be, something happens. God reveals things that want to happen.
It's like working with God to bring out the best in that child.
Exactly.
Because what God wants from that child, he has to pass it through someone.
Exactly.
Someone that is willing to listen and do what is required. So it's a task too.
So men, when last did you wake up and what you're doing is interceding for each of your children, calling them by name, fasting on their behalf? If you've not done that, you actually have not fulfilled your role as a father and as a priest of your own.
Extra mile to get extraordinary children. It's good extra mile. So
you intercede. And for us as mothers, it should be a daily reoccurrence. Sure, for both parents.
For both now.
You know, we have an altar, we pray every day in our house.
The wife should also encourage the husband. Don't just do it alone and secretly. Get the husband that we are doing this now. Let's do this. Okay. And watch what's the response of the husband.
Exactly.
Not all men are like that, walk. Some won't really be involved, but they don't know how to go about it.
I agree with my husband.
Encourage them that we're going to fast for, so we're going to pray for so and so. I'm sure he'll be very interested.
The truth of the matter is, when we know the value of what we're going to bring, I think the result we're going to bring. For my husband and I, being our workload and all, we have conversations. We have non-negotiable times early in the mornings that we pray for the children and with the children. And I will remind him, and the days we are going to fast, this morning I reminded him. And we're going to walk through those things, knowing that the benefit is seeing our children become the best version of themselves. With God's, not the best version of themselves we want, but yes, in God's eyes. And that's where they are. So for your child, in their age, their milestones, are you aware of what they should be doing per age, per year? These things, have you conversed them in physical, spiritually, emotionally? Concerning puberty too, you have to all do this. Very important. So remember, and when we say intercept, it means that when you see relationships that are not working, you have to decide, do you want to be loved by your children, or do you want to save your children into the future? There are days your children will not like decisions you're making, but you have to intercept certain
That's where
things.
discipline comes in.
Yes, very important.
Discipline is a key part of love.
Yes.
You know,
I agree with you.
Greatest, the God, our Father, God that is love Himself, chastises His children.
Very important. In short, no is a part of the love word. So we are teaching our children self-control by saying no, and you have to obey those rules. But they have understood those rules. We don't command those rules. Yeah. We discuss and agree.
It's for their benefit.
Then we work on it. So finally, the end is what? Nurture. And I think nurture and teach seems to be the very beginning and end. It's an re-emphasization of what's happening. Are you nurturing your children? You know, you see other people's children and you admire them. When last did you do what is necessary because of these children? Paying their fees is one of the basic things. Spending time with them is another part. Going through you must go through your children's phone too. Yes, for parents, listen to me. It's their privacy. Really, when they do things that you do not like and you don't address it, who gets the shame?
The whole family gets the shame.
So your children, for us, it seems that it falls on me. You know, there are some people that have strength in different areas. I don't check my children's phone at their back. So let's say that today is the day to check their phone. I just thought that today, Mimi, we're going to check the children's phone. The children walk into our bedroom after morning prayer. I just say, can everybody just give me your phones? They are there. We open it. What we don't like, we discuss immediately. Yes. So and we don't do it. They don't know when. They just know it will come.
Find out their view. Why are they doing this? Why
exactly.
So you discuss and enlighten them that this should not be done now.
A few days ago, remember 2 days ago, we had a conversation with our son. Our son, I opened one of his books and he wrote some things that I was quite uncomfortable about. And we had a conversation with him and I asked him, why was this? Why did you make comments on this, and this, and this? Why don't we don't do this make this kind of comments in our house? Why? And we had this conversation. He understood, and I understood his own place. There was no scolding. There was just an interaction. That's nurturing. So you go into those places, you do what is necessary. And that part of nurturing is being an example. You can't tell your child love when you've not loved your spouse, and you've not taught them love.
Say the truth, and you're not saying the truth.
You know, you tell them, maybe just remember, like you. Our son said, can't get into the kitchen. What did their father do to nurture them? He got into the kitchen. And our sons now get into the kitchen. So maybe what else do you have to say as we round up for this session?
Nurturing is very important, and we need to do that. It's just like a farmer putting fertilizer, removing the weeds around it, so that the crop can grow straight and grow well.
Exactly.
So that's why you look at your children, and all of them are specific and peculiar. You remove the weeds around them, the bad behavior. You nurture the good skills and behavior they have. You know, playing your part there.
Very
like
important.
An overseer seeing.
Yes, so
you have the fact of hindsight and foresight. You do all that and apply it to them.
Yes. But apply it without commanding, but relationship.
Yes.
Relate with them. Finally, remember that every child is unique. Don't assume that because this child went this way, that's the same training skills. No. Well, that's why for parenting is how do I put it? It's dynamic. It's dynamic. You can't say what I knew yesterday is going to work today. The environment, the child, the circumstances, even your level of understanding is different. So we need to keep that in mind. We ask you to also remember to partner with God who gave you these children. They are not yours. We are custodians. Never forget that. And finally, we ask you to remember not to miss tomorrow's event. We're going to discuss on how to plan a vision with the children in mind and roles that are necessary to play to have children that will be kings and queens, great influencers for the earth. So remember our social media handles already on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't leave this place without subscribing. It's very important. Share with your friends. Don't keep this. Let's create an environment safe for our children. Oh, I've trained my children. Really? Your children will marry that person. I wanted to use a very bad word. Oh, Father, I wanted to say that vagabond. That person that you don't want to train. So you better share this with your neighbors and friends.
That's a part of training too. Yes. Beyond your children, you go out, people out there. impart some knowledge and wisdom.
Very
Help too.
important. Very important.
The society, we need to help each other.
Yes.
It's one community.
Yes.
And one bad egg in one community can ruin the whole thing.
Yes. So that's not relate with this child, but that's the child that is relating with your child in school. And your child begins to believe their idea is not yours.
And begin to fall in love with the person. Before your very eyes.
And then we jump and pass. So we're saying to you, don't forget our social medias. Facebook and Instagram is Keepingmarriagealive. Our Twitter is alive@KMA. LinkedIn, Ngozi 𝙘𝙝𝙞𝙧𝙚𝙀. My husband is Richard Okonkwo at Facebook and Instagram. We ask you to follow us as you learn deeper with us in this journey. Hope you've enjoyed today. Maybe any last words?
Keep on enjoying yourself.
Go train your child. Take care.
Bye.